All right, guys. So I'm going to tell you about how Tucker Carlson is trying to get every other reporter to not talk about the good economy. It's actually a smart strategy, as usual. I hate to say it, but it's true from Tucker Carlson. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of it. And what does that do to Joe Biden, Democrats, the polling, and how it affects all elections? Okay, so all that's coming up. This video is sponsored by aspiration.com/TYT. Aspiration is amazing. I have my money in there. Every time I spend, I round up to plant trees. I've planted a little Uygur forest. I love it. And the rates can be as high as 83 times what the big banks pay. So you can actually make way more money there and you feel great about it. They don't put any of your money into fossil fuel investments or private prisons or any of that garbage, okay? So you feel great about it and you make more money. So aspiration.com/TYT. I love supporting good progressive companies. All right, now, and then Tucker Carlson can cry about that. So Tucker went on air Friday night to bully Jim Cramer from CNBC. Now, critique of other reporters is 1,000,000,000% fair game, and I do it all the time, and in a sense I'm doing it here of Tucker. And so that's not the issue. But why is he doing it, and what's the strategy behind it? So Cramer said a rare, honest thing. So obviously, Tucker Carlson's furious about that, but with an agenda. So he said this is the best economy he's ever seen. Now, that's a CNBC anchor taken very seriously by mainstream media. Has he been wrong before? Definitely, right? Is he massively pro-corporate? Definitely, right? But he, but CNBC is very conservative economically. They might even be more conservative economically than Fox News. So they're not going to say something that's a great economy unless they're making tons and tons of money and all their rich friends are making tons and tons of money and it's a booming economy. So Cramer says that because it's true. Did you know that unemployment claims are at a 52-year low? So, but what the media did, Fox News, the right-wing media, led on this, but the rest of mainstream media totally followed and has actually doubled down and poured fuel all over that fire. They took a really hot economy and said it's a really bad thing. Now, whenever there's a great economy under a Republican, it's an awesome thing, it's an amazing thing, okay? But when it's under a Democrat, they're like, oh, it's terrible. Why is it terrible? Inflation. Everybody's talking about inflation. Now there's comically new angle on this, okay? The angle is comical. Nora O'Donnell just said it on CBS. A different version was said on MSNBC, so it's all over television. No, you don't want higher wages. No, higher wages are bad because that's part of inflation. No, you want your wages to be really, really low. Not for the bankers, not for the people on television, not for any of the elite, but for you guys, you want the wages to be super low because you don't want inflation and you don't want to give credit to a good economy because they actually pass bills that help American voters. Oh, that coronavirus relief bill mainly went to you guys. Oh, boo. No. Oh, no, good economy is now a bad thing. It's a bad thing because of inflation, right? So now mainstream media is already mainly doing that, but a ray of truth broke out, accidentally or otherwise, from Jim Cramer. And he said, by the way, this is the best economy of our lifetimes. And part of the reason why you have inflation is because the economy is so red hot. So Tucker Carlson comes in. And he's going to bully him because he doesn't want any other reporter saying the thing that is true. And that's really important. That's part of how Fox News drives the agenda. So he knows that if he says outrageous and awful things about Jim Cramer, everybody will hear it and report it because they'll be shocked and chagrined, like, oh no, there's terrible Tucker Carlson attacking us again. Now, they'll all cry about that and they'll demand apologies, which Tucker won't give. Tucker knows all of that, and that's well played on his part to get the media attention that he wants, right? But he's getting that attention to direct it towards what? To direct it towards you better not say anywhere on television that the economy is doing well. Otherwise, I'm going to come to obliterate you. So that's the memo he's sending to the media, to the rest of the media. Now, can he bully the rest of the media that way? Of course he can. And he knows that. All he has to do is just scare them a little bit. Light one guy on fire and the rest of them will go scurrying. So, if they were ever going to report the good economy, which they generally haven't, okay, now they'll be way more scared to do that. And so that's how Fox News wins and Tucker Carlson drives the agenda. Again, I give him credit for being smart. That's good politics, and that's a good way to drive a narrative and an agenda. And he's taking advantage of the same thing we know, which is that mainstream media is generally both incredibly scared and weak, like, oh, what are the Republicans going to say about me? I'm so worried. Oh, corporate Democrats, have I pleased you enough? Corporate Republicans, have I pleased you enough? Okay, so that's, mainstream media. They're weak like that, and they're nervous and they're scared. But the second thing is, they don't know anything anyway, right? So they got fish hooked the whole way into like, oh, a good economy is terrible, right? We've always said a good economy is terrible because of inflation. Oh, we'll be inflation. You don't want higher wages. Boo, higher wages. That goes to average Americans. We hate average Americans. Wait, did we say that out loud? Okay, that's how the media is. That's how ridiculous it is. So Tucker Carlson's making that a faster and faster cycle of make sure you only report the bad news and none of the good news. And I'll tell you the result of that in a second. First, I'm seeing all you members out there because you got the TYT badges. I love it. Okay. If you're watching live, you could always use YouTube Super Chat. You could hit the join button below. If you're on mobile, you got to scroll down just a little bit further. And look at this, like 420 JR, man. I see you, man. I seen you with your TYT tag. I love it. Okay. I'll give you shout outs during the live videos if you sign up then. You could, but also, if you're watching this later, use super thanks, man. That makes a big difference for us too. I appreciate it. And happy holidays to everybody. I was just gonna come back and say, look, let's see how it goes. Let's see if anybody else starts to report the good numbers, because it's going to be a battle between corporate Democrats and Fox News bullying on the other side. Because at some point, corporate Democrats, being the, not overly bright and very non-aggressive that they are, but we'll realize, oh, we should probably, this is the main important point I wanted to share with you guys. They're down by 10 points in generic polls in congressional elections. So if we had the House or congressional elections today, the Republicans would clean house. They'd wipe the Democrats off the board. So at some point, corporate Democrats are going to panic and realize that. And, somebody just joined up. I want to give people proper shout outs, and my finger's right in the middle. I heart dogs. That's what I thought it said. I heart dogs too. So when the corporate Democrats panic, you will see the narrative come out of MSNBC first and then jump to CNN. Well, actually, this is actually a pretty good economy, actually. And that's what Tucker's trying to prevent and do a preemptive strike against, if you will. So, all right. Happy holidays, everybody. TwoStrongCoffee.com/TYT has Santa mugs. Santa's progressive and Jesus is too. Check that out. But make sure you got your money in a clean, safe place that gives you the best results. Aspiration.com/TYT. Love you guys.